Hi guys. So we are going to go through lines 1 through 11 of Caesar's Gallic Wars today, and that's what we're going to do in this video. And then over the weekend, here's how it's going to work. I'll pick one sentence or one line from those 11, and your job will be to translate that line and then parse a few words that I pick out for you. So we're doing this one with the lecture ahead of time. And actually, that's how all of them should work. So should be no problem if you're with us for the lecture here. So if you have your green book, I think it's on page 19. I don't have the book in front of me, but if not, I'm going to just keep a running document with all the lines we translate. And when we get toward our final exam, because I'm just going to ask you to, I'm pulling everything from this text, we'll update this document with proper translations and all that. So it'll be a nice study guide too. So we got through the first line on Wednesday in our live meeting, but we have Gaul. The whole of Gaul is divided into 3 parts, of which one the Belgians inhabit, another the Aquitani inhabit, and a third the Gauls inhabit. Okay, and remember we talked about this relative pronoun quorum, genitive plural feminine, its antecedent is partes, 3 parts of which one the Belgians dwell in, another the Aquitani, and a third the Gauls. So let's move on. Hi omnes lingua legibus aliis quae rebus multis inter se differunt. Okay, so he, I gave you a note on this. This is what's called the demonstrative pronoun. It's the word this. And on Monday, this will be something we cover in more detail. I'll give you the forms for it. But it means this, demonstrative pronoun, demonstrative adjective. And so we could say these, and it's omnes, he omnes. These are both nominative plural. So all of these. Now, what is this phrase referring to? Well, it's the 3 different peoples in Gaul. So the Gauls, the Belgians, and the Aquitani. So these all, and our verbs at the end, differunt. All of these differ, and we've got a prepositional phrase, inter se. So se is the reflexive pronoun, and remember it's got the same forms for singular and plural. This is accusative plural. And so we can say these all differ among themselves, and we have a couple ablatives now. Lingua legibus aliis quae rebus multis. So this is, and again, something we'll cover more explicitly on Monday, but this is what we can call an ablative of respect. So we have this verb, they differ among themselves. These ablatives are going to answer the question, how do they differ? Or regarding what do they differ? And if we translate these nouns, they differ in respect to their language, to their laws, and here's quae, that enclitic particle, enclitic conjunction, pardon me, and which is going to mean and aliis, other things, rebus, ablative plural, and there are many other things. So the whole line, all of these differ in respect to their language, to their laws, and to many other things. Garumna flumen Gallo sab Aquitanis dividet. So this is a river name. The Garumna is the Garonne River. So the Garonne River separates, divided, third singular present, separates the Gauls ab Aquitanis, from the Aquitani. So that river separates those 2 peoples. Matronet sequana Gallos a Belgis dividunt. So the Matrona is the Marne River, and the Sequana is the Seine River. It's in a footnote at the bottom, I think. So the Marne and the Seine, third plural now, they separate the Gauls a Belgis from the Belgians. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now these ablatives, ablative prepositional phrases, I don't think we've seen this use quite yet, but we would call this ablative of separation. So the Gauls are divided from these other peoples, and that idea of separation is in the ablative case. Okay. Horum omnium fortissimi sunt Belgae nama provincia nostra longissime absunt ad mercatores ad eos non saepe veniunt. Okay, that one's a bit longer. Let's try to find our verb first. We've got sunt. They are, just the verb to be. Sunt and absunt, compound with to be. We'll get to absunt in a second here. But let's see if we can find a subject for sunt. Now, fortissimi could be nominative plural. So could Belgae. I'm going to take fortissimi as our subject. And this is from the adjective fortis, forte. And it's the superlative form of the adjective. If you recall, before school closed, I think we briefly learned positive, comparative, and superlative degrees of adjectives. We're not going to rehash that in detail. I'll just probably let you know when they come up. But the strongest, and now we've got horum omnium, both genitive plural, and this is just like he omnes. It's the demonstrative adjective and the substantive. So of all of these, the strongest, sunt, the strongest are. So the strongest of all of these, and what are these? It's the peoples again. The strongest of all of these are Belgae, are the Belgians. So now Belgae we can take as a predicate nominative. The strongest are the Belgians. Nam, for, right? For or because. A provincia, away from the province, and it's provincia nostra, away from our province. Longissime, that's this is so that that ISS business, that's a good way to recognize the superlative degree of adjectives. So this is the superlative form of longus aum, which means long or far, something like that. And it's superlative and made into an adverb, that long E at the end of an adjective looking stem. It's going to be adverbial. So let's take our verb before we translate it. So the Belgians are the strongest of all these because absunt. They are absent. They are away from. And now we can take the adverb. They are furthest away from our province, another ablative of separation. I think I asked you about provincia in the homework. It's an ablative of separation. So the Belgians are the furthest away from our province, and mercatores, merchants, nominative plural, merchants, non saepe veniunt, do not often come ad eos, toward them. That's just the pronoun, third person pronoun. So whole line, it's a long one. The strongest of all these are the Belgians because they are furthest away from our province, and the merchants do not often come toward them, do not often come to them. Okay, Caesar has a line that our book leaves out, something about how all the culture and commerce and luxury in Rome makes for a non-vigorous society. So that's a nice insight into Caesar's thought on luxury, I guess. Now, praeterea proximi sunt Germanis, qui trans Rhenum incolunt, quibuscum continenter bellum gerunt. Praeterea, it's a causal word. Let's look it up here just to be sure. Praeterea, in addition, pardon me. Beyond this, in addition, besides. Okay, so we know the Belgians are the strongest because they're furthest away from the culture and commerce of Rome, of our province. And furthermore, proximi sunt Germanis. This is an adjective that means near to, and it takes the ablative case usually. So they are the nearest, proximi sunt, they are nearest Germanis to the Germans. Ablative or dative. Let's check on that. So I'm going to show you how to like. Well, it doesn't look like the dictionary tells us too much about this word. Okay. Well, it takes an oblique case anyways. So they are nearest to the Germans. Now we've got a relative clause, just a regular old relative clause. Qui trans renum inculant. So the Germans, now this is ablative plural masculine. Our relative pronoun is nominative plural masculine, but its antecedent is Germanis. The Germans who dwell trans renum, across the Rhine. And I'm going to add I will add a footnote to Rhenum. I forgot that. It's the Rhine River. Right? It's the Rhine, not the Rhone. Yeah. I'm good. Pardon me. So that is a masculine river. Most rivers are feminine, but the Rhine is masculine. Okay, so the Germans who dwell across the Rhine, quibus cum. This is tricky. It's another relative clause. And what we actually have going on is quibus, ablative plural, relative pronoun, still looks back to Germanis. Its antecedent still Germanis, but we've got cum attached to the end of it, like this preposition can sometimes do with pronouns. So we're going to translate this relative pronoun as with whom. So the Germans who dwell across the Rhine and with whom, continenter is an adverb, continuously without interruption, and with whom they wage war, bellum gerunt, continuously. You might remember bellum gerere is an idiom, but it just means wage war. So, whole line. Furthermore, they are nearest to the Germans who dwell across the Rhine and with whom they continually wage war. Quade causa Helvidii quoque reliquos Gallos virtude superant, nam saepe cum Germanis contendunt. So, note on this, but quade causa just means because of what cause or for which reason. So, what is that logically doing? Looking back to what we just had in the line above, because of that reason, because of which reason? Because the Belgians are nearest to the Germans, the Helvidii, and these were a Celtic tribe who lived on the Swiss plateau. So because of that reason, the Helvidii quoque also superant, they overcome present third singular, overcome reliquos Gallos, the remaining Gauls, virtute, with virtue, I'd say by means of virtue. For nam saepe often, cum Germanis, with the Germans, contendunt, they are contending, they are fighting. So because of which for which reason the Helvidians, I believe, also overcome the remaining Gauls with virtue, for often they contend with the Germans. And last line here, aut enim suis finibus eos prohibent, aut ipsi in eorum finibus bellum gerunt. So we've got out, another thing we'll kind of clean up on Monday, but it'll usually be repeated like this, and it means either or. So either, indeed, now suis finibus, this is going to be something like their own borders, and it looks like it's dative ablative plural. prohibent. So let's, I actually did not translate this line ahead of time, so we'll do it at sight here. Prohibeo, to hold before, hold back, keep in check, avert, ward off. Second conjugation, so I think we've got third plural present. So either they ward them off, and now let's see. So here's a little bit of digging in the dictionary. So I'm looking right here. To hold back, keep in check, ward off. Now, in general, usually takes an accusative, aliquem or aliquid. This is just a little bit how the dictionary works. With an ablative also. Okay, so you ward off something from something else, or you ward off someone from someone else. Now, that's what we have going on here. So they ward off eos, them, in the accusative, suis finibus, from their own borders, in the ablative. So that's the first half of this, either or. So either they ward, and enim, again, either, indeed, I can never remember enim very well. For instance, namely, that is to say, in fact, truly, means everything. For either they ward them off from their own borders, or ipsi, another word we'll cover next week, they themselves wage war in, now we've got a little bit of hyperbaton, so it's in finibus, finibus, that should be finibus. In finibus, in the boundaries, in the borders, and now we've got a genitive interrupting that prepositional phrase. Again, hyperbaton, an interruption of grammatical structure. And it's the in finibus eorum, in the boundaries of them. Okay, so either, indeed, they ward them off from their own boundaries, or they themselves wage war in their territory. Okay, and that's a little awkward on that translation. One thing you can do though, and you do this virtuously, because I'm going to be able to tell if you're just copy pasting from a translation, but see how we did that? Having gone through the Latin first, we can look at a translation of Caesar's text. All Gaul is divided into 3 parts, one of which the Belgians inhabit, the Aquitani another, those who in their own language are called Celts, and our Gauls the third. All these differ from each other in language, customs, and laws. The river Garonne separates the Gauls from the Aquitani. The Marne and the Seine separate them from the Belgians. Of all these, the Belgians are the bravest because they are furthest from the civilization and refinement of our province, and merchants least frequently resort to them and import those things which tend to effeminate the mind. Don't get tripped up by that effeminate. It's not a dig against the women. And to point that out, you just need to note that no one ever calls women effeminate. Okay, it's a different word than feminine, so it's not a dig. It's used especially of non-dutiful men or cowardly men. Okay, and that was the line that our text left out. And they are nearest to the Germans who dwell beyond the Rhine, with whom they are continually waging war, for which reason the Helvetii also surpass the rest of the Gauls in valor, as they contend with the Germans in almost daily battles, when they either repel them from their own territories or themselves wage war on their frontiers. Okay, so we were pretty good. A couple fixes. Now I'm gonna go back through and retranslate. So all of Gaul is divided into 3 parts, of which one the Belgians inhabit, another the Aquitani inhabit, and a third the Gauls inhabit. All of these differ among themselves in respect to language, in respect to laws, and in respect to many other things. The river Garonne separates the Gauls from the Aquitani. The Marne and the Seine separate the Gauls from the Belgians. Of all of these, the strongest or the bravest are the Belgians, for they are furthest away from our province, and merchants do not often come to them. Additionally, they are nearest the Germans. They are nearest to the Germans who dwell beyond the Rhine, and with whom they constantly wage war. Because of that, the Helvetians also surpass the remaining Gauls, the rest of the Gauls. Now, this is a fix. I messed this up. They surpass them in respect to virtue, another ablative of respect, not ablative of means. So they surpass the rest of the Gauls in virtue because they often contend with the Germans. Indeed, either they ward them off from their own borders, or they themselves wage war within the bounds of the Germans. That's what it comes out to mean. Difficult to translate. Okay, so that is lesson 1 with real Latin, I guess. Again, I'll just pick one of those lines and you'll do it over the weekend, answer some grammar questions, and we'll just do this for the rest of the year. Sounds good? And we'll try to get into a little bit of literary analysis with it too. Right off the bat, you get this focus on geography, I'd say, which would be of concern to someone trying to lead an army through Cisalpine Gaul, which is mountainous. And there's also this theme that we should keep track of the idea that struggle makes you virtuous and strong, and that it's the peoples who sit back and have an easy, comfortable, safe life who are soft and vulnerable to people who would take advantage of them. So there's this Roman virtue that rejoices in the challenge, rejoices in the struggle. And like, I'm not saying that's absolutely how we should be, but we might be able to learn something from that, apply it to your studies, something like that. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.